second up from a spell. Jody, good run first up. I thought sectional time-wise went nice and was probably a little bit easier tonight.
Yeah, he went okay first up. Nothing great, but he benefited from that run. But tonight he was just in a mood at no stage. Did he want to get up on the gate or did he want to race at any stage? And he was going to win quite comfy off the corner, and then he just sort of half up the straight, he stargazed and wanted to pull up.
Well, of course, early on, Lombo Idle Belief was working pretty hard to find the front, so there was a bit of pace on, which sort of helped the back markers a bit. So that would have given you a little bit of confidence, even though you're reining him up.
Yeah, the right horse, he can sprint quite quickly, but he seemed to be out of sorts tonight. The right one sort of pulled out and went straight by him, but he took a fair bit of coaxing, and he's just got the shits tonight.
We'll just call it second up syndrome, Jody. That might be the best way to put it. To be quite frank, down the straight, I thought, oh yeah, he's got them covered. I better have a look to see what Jody's driving for the rest of the night. I looked down and I was looking at my race book, and then all of a sudden you let out a really big scream, and you scared the life out of me, Jody.
Yeah, I was roaring at him because he was just going to completely pull up. He was looking ahead of him, pricking his ears and doing everything but going forward. But lucky for him, the line came up quick enough.
That was his second run back from a spell in Metropolitan class. Where to next for Christian Major? Do you think he can take the next level?
Well, on his run tonight, it probably doesn't seem so, but he is a better horse than what he showed tonight. And when he is on song, he can sort of sit up on a bit of speed and he can peel off it and sprint well. But yeah, like I say, tonight he was just out of sorts. So hopefully going forward, he'll continue to improve for a couple of runs because he had a little bit of time off. So he should keep getting better.
He had a good alley tonight, Greg, and around the first bend you had a grin from ear to ear. You're behind the leader. Been shared interest is usually a horse that holds the lead, so you would have been quite happy, but that all changed at the 1600.
Yeah, spot on. No, looked that way on paper, and we thought shared interest would probably be too quick for us, and we're happy to follow it anyway. But yeah, when they ended up, approaching the mile, I thought, oh, that's going to make things a little bit trickier now. And in the run, there was a lot of horses around us, and the shared interest actually seemed to be struggling a little bit around the turn, and we needed a way clear. But he obviously picked up and hit the line good to the inside, but thankfully we got the run to the outside.
I must admit, what happened at Bendigo, they laid a start. Once JPD found the lead as easily as he did, I thought, by gee, he's going to be hard to beat. But he folded up on the home bend, and that allowed you to weave a bit of magic and get the prize. Were you surprised how quickly he accelerated? Because he really zoomed that last 50.
Yeah, I was actually. I think the first time I've ever driven the horse. So, I didn't realise he had that good a turn of foot, and to do it while he was, pulling sideways, basically went from, the fence line to 4 deep in only a matter of a couple of strides, and accelerated while doing it. It's not an easy thing to do.
No, exactly. And, this horse, is learning all the time. And I suppose maybe, 3-4 months ago, he might not have been able to do what he did tonight.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's obviously got his fair share of speed, and seems like a pretty reliable sort of trotter. Just on that one experience sitting behind him. So hopefully there's more wins in store for Connections.
Looks a promising horse. She's lightly raced from New Zealand, and I was surprised she was beaten in the heat, Alex, but she came out and did the right thing in the final.
Yeah, 100%. She was probably a run short, Yarra Glen. Before that, she was been pulling a bit hard, and they rectified the problem. Jared and Brian do a wonderful job with a small team of horses, so it's a credit to them.
Yes, well, tonight you've settled in the second half of the field, but 31-7 was the second quarter, and you took advantage of that slow quarter to get around the field at the right time.
Yeah, and especially when it helps when the lead time's a bit quick, and the first quarter in this grade's 28-2, so it was the right move to make when the tempo slackened off, and she just scraped in at the end.
Yeah, she looks a speedy type. She's won some really good races from off the speed, and that race at Shepparton behind Bronski Bell in 1:55 I thought was a great run. And one night here at Melton, she was beaten narrowly in really quick time. So I think from off the speed, when circumstances permit, she's going to be a real nice horse.
Yeah, with another 6 months of good hard racing underneath her and following the better ones, she's going to be better off. She's got a good turn of speed. It's not ideally to drive her how we are at the moment, but you have to in this sort of grade to win the races. But when she gets up in grade and sitting off speed, well, you're going to see her full potential then.
Chris, well done. Won both heat and final. In the heat, you ended up behind the leader, but tonight you had a trouble-free run in front.
Yeah, I wanted to sort of lead at Yarra Glen, but one got a bit crazy outside him, so we had to take a trail. But he's pretty versatile, and he had a nice, easy lead tonight and ran, 1200 really strong.
He had a lot of starts as a 2-year-old in New Zealand. He came across here and he raced in a lot of classic events. So now into normal classed events, he looks better placed.
Yeah, he's dropped back in grade from Breeders' Crown to a TO Heat and Final, sort of a big drop in grade, and he looked very hard to beat.
Yes, so tonight he's won that. I do think he's got a few more wins in store. We had a good run in front tonight though, but he was strong at the finish.
Yeah, he's he should go to through the grades and make it to metro level later on in his career.
Craig Demler, that was absolutely outstanding. I couldn't believe where he came from, what happened from the start, and how he won. That was just a wow performance.
Yeah, no, I was just wrapped. I thought it was out of play, and I just sort of thought, well, once we're back in the field, it was always going to be hard to get into it. And look, he had the gate speed, but they were just going too hard early. I just didn't want to be caught, but had some drivers inside me sticking their legs there, so I couldn't cross, and so I just decided to go back. And he got on TC, but B McRae's back and burned a hole in your pocket. Got pushed about 4 wide, so I had to go 5 wide, and just the way he made up the ground was just unbelievable, really.
Well, it was a 43.9 lead time, and you did take hold some 150 metres after the start, but you still used the energy a little bit early. It wasn't as though you went straight back. And then, as you mentioned, not much luck happened. Umbracaria went around the field and got to the lead, and another Safari went around. So all of a sudden, from vying for the lead, you're back last at the 800 metres mark. You get out onto the turn, you come out wide, and a horse called Magical Man gets into the clear underneath you. And we know he's got one of the most powerful finishing bursts here in Victoria, and you still were able to match him and beat him in the straight.
No, he's a marvellous horse. Like, we've had a lot of time with him. We've taken our time with him, and look, Magical Man's been flying, but look, he's been going good at the trials. But he's been 12 months off the scene. I thought I'd give him a couple of quiet trials, and then he just went that good, Craig. So I decided to race him and get a bit of fitness in him, and hopefully get him ready for the Inters. But to out sprint Magical Man, but I had to sort of go around wide, and to do what he did was unbelievable, really.
Well done to you, Kima. You got the lead very cheaply and you were able to stack them up.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I thought there was going to be a bit more pressure tonight, but there was nothing that wanted to come and put pressure on, so she got it pretty easy and got a little bit tired late, but she held on, yeah.
I always think a reputation is a good thing, and of course here a couple of weeks ago you led and won, so you drawn barrier 1, you look the leader again tonight. So reputation-wise, other drivers might think, well, makes every sense is going to lead, and your reputation can give you an easy run in front sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And she's I've never actually pushed her out of the gate. She just comes out on her own, on her own steam. And I think they've probably seen that. So but she's been a really nice horse, and she really deserved these 2 wins. She ran a really good race last week when they went 152, and I'm really grateful to Jackie that lets me drive her, and Ake's done a really good job with her.
Well, she got home in 26.1 in her win a couple of weeks ago, 26.7 tonight. That's some really serious firepower.
Yeah, she's so quick. When you sort of let her rip you, she's real quick. She's had, raced every week for a while now, so I think she's just going to have a couple of weeks off racing and then regroup, regather.
He's really found his niche in the claiming grade, hasn't he, Chris? He's won a stack of races in recent time under these conditions.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably nearly won as many of these claiming races as he has normal races in his whole life, sort of in the last 3 or 4 months. So he's doing a great job.
Yeah, he's got that early speed, and he showed that again tonight. Were you surprised of how easily he got to the front, or were you expecting that?
I thought he might have to go a little bit harder, but he did really ping off the gate that first 100 and then sort of got it quiet from, into the first quarter, which was really good.
Well, Elsa Ivanhoe moved up on the outside from about the 500 metres mark, but you always seem to be travelling well.
Yeah, he just, does what he has to do, and sometimes you don't know how much you got left, but when you kick the blinds down, he puts his head down and keeps on trucking.
A terrific win, Chris Finocio, well done. You got left stranded without cover, but you didn't panic. El Parco out in front, but you were able to put him away, and Sparkling Success was very good in the run to the finish.
Yeah, he was terrific tonight, mate. He's just brought him up beautifully. He's had a few runs, and he just felt the winner all the way.
Yeah, he took a couple of runs before he got to his peak form. He was beaten a few times, and then he came out and won the Breeders' Crown Graduate. But I really think tonight he was absolutely spot on.
Yeah, he was good last time, and he was even better tonight. He was always travelling really well. Like, he only cruises once he gets to the front by himself. But yeah, it was just a matter of he just felt like he could go past the leader the whole race. He just felt enormous.
Well, as you turned for home, Kai Valley Blur was about 10 metres behind you. You know he's got a fast finishing burst, but you never look worried at any stage down the straight. You never look desperate at all.
I don't like being left by myself with him. Like, when he's got something to race, like, he really wants to race. So that was my only worry if Kai Valley Blur came at him real quick or something. But no, he was terrific.
So he's off to America. Are you off to America with him?
Yeah, like, the horse has got a bigger trip than we have. He goes via China and goes to Sydney first, then China, then to Alaska, into New York. But Meaty and I will meet him there the next day in New York. Hopefully everything goes good.
On the home turn, I was a bit worried. I thought you were under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, she gets a bit funny. She's probably led in most of her wins. So it was probably something new for us sitting parked to win. But thought we could have got the front because the one horse hadn't had a trial or anything, but we weren't able to. And yeah, she did a good job to have to sit there, and she was under pressure a long way out, but she just kept going.
Yes, so on the home turn, Jillaby Shania looked like she had a little bit of a kick left and you were flat out. But as you mentioned, Jillaby Shania was first up since February. So she's magnetic come through. And I just had it in the back of my mind what you said earlier, that she was a bit lazy at Horsham the other day when Lyndon Abbey got past her. So obviously she knows where the winning post is.
Yeah, she does. Like, her record's pretty good. She probably won more than she's lost, but at the start get a bit harder for her now. But yeah, she's doing a really good job.
Well, last year, of course, record-breaking season, 457, what it ended up with a fantastic performance. I know in myself, when I'm listening back to my race calls, and I'll count my mistakes, and I'll say, oh, I did 21 mistakes today, and next week, or tomorrow, I'll have to do better. Or if I go for a run, I went 32.59 yesterday for 5Ks, I have to do 32.50 the next day. How do you go 457 winners? Do you say, well, I'm going to reset the target again this year?
No, pretty hard to fathom that we could get that many winners, in a year again. Although I started off this good, I think I've had 3 trebles and 2 doubles in the first 5 meetings that I've been to this year, but that'll come to an end pretty soon, I think. But yeah, you sort of maybe look at it. I had 1,500 drives, so I got beat 1,100 times, so have to improve on them ones.
Good victory in the last event. Couldn't lead early. Sunny afternoon, had a bit too much speed, but given the fact that it was first up since August, did you always confident that you were going to get past him?
Yeah, well, that's what we had planned. Sort of just come out, and if Greg gets the pegs first, then put a bit of pressure on him, see if he'll hand up, and he handed up, and the rest is history.
Yeah, well, it always travelled well in the run. You were able to sneak a bit of a break on the home bend, but it never looked like being beaten.
No, he still has the plugs in. Dave's got him going really well. I think he's a pretty nice horse. He gives me the feel of it. So, this is right up to him, and he proved that.
It was his 10th career victory tonight. Interestingly enough, 6 of those victories have come here at Tabcorp Park, Melton, which that wouldn't happen too often, in the fact that Melton's a harder track to win on, being the metropolitan track. So he obviously likes it here.
Yeah, obviously, while they're going good, keep them going, and he obviously likes it here, and I guess what else can you say? He's going to go good.
Yeah, he certainly has.
Vincent shoots clear now. Is this a star on the rise? Vincent brains them. Vincent by 15. How big was that, Vincent? That was outstanding.
Heaven Rock's Titan better. It's an all-stars show in the